Oh, what's going on, guys? Gamer Dude back once again, bringing you some more informative gaming news. But before we begin, y'all know the routine, or at least I hope you do by now. If you are new to the channel, please make sure you smash that like button and drop me a subscribe, because it would just be your good deed of the day. Same applies if you are a returning viewer. Now then, we have some news regarding Marvel's Spider-Man, or rather Marvel's Spider-Man's future. As you can tell from the title, it appears that Insomniac Games have indeed confirmed that Miles Morales will now be the prime Spider-Man going forward in this universe. Now, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down what this means, what it means for Peter Parker, and why the devs have chosen to do this. So, let's get right into it. Now, first of all, I don't really know why people are so surprised, because it's set in stone. It's there for everybody to see. Whenever Miles Morales shows up, Peter Parker is always pushed aside or killed. This was inevitable from the moment they introduced Miles in the first game. I mean, it happens pretty much all the time whenever Miles shows up. But yeah, here's how I think it's going to go down. There will most likely be a DLC for Spider-Man 2 that will end the whole symbiote story arc. Probably in another series of 3, similar to the first game's DLC, and it will have Peter get rid of the anti-venom suit he's stuck with in the end game. And of course, with the introduction of Silk from the post-credit scene, it's most likely we'll also see her introduction in this DLC, which will lead to her own Miles Morales-style spin-off game. Now, enter Spider-Man 3. Years off, obviously, but hear me out. Peter has obviously taken a massive back seat, considering with the introduction of Silk, there's now 2 other spider heroes protecting New York. He's taken that time to, as Miles so ineptly said at the end of Spider-Man 2, be Peter Parker for a while. Now, during the events of Spider-Man 3, Doc Ock emerges at some stage in the game. Miles turns to Peter for help in fighting Doc Ock, because why wouldn't he? Peter's got experience fighting Doc Ock, he knows Dr. Octavius. So naturally, Miles goes to Peter. During that fight, however, the Goblin emerges. And I'm guessing this will lead to Peter's inevitable downfall. The Goblin will do something that puts Peter out of commission, retires him permanently, or just outright kills him. Because in some of the Ultimate Spider-Man Miles universe, that is, it's the Goblin that killed Peter. And you've got to think, you know, if the Goblin kills Peter in the next game, then we still get that Peter versus Goblin fight that everybody wants. I'm not saying that, you know, they're going to push Peter completely out of the game to center as Miles and Peter dies off screen or dies in a cutscene. We will probably get to play as Peter at some point in Spider-Man 3. After all, it is Peter Parker's story. Insomniac have only said that Miles will be the lead Spider-Man going forward. So because of this, Miles then becomes the primary Spider-Man and continues to train Silk, who will become the progeny replacement that Miles was for Peter. And, you know, it's like I said, people seem to forget, whenever Miles Morales shows up, Peter Parker usually dies. So, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now on to what Insomniac have said and what this means moving forward. Now, of course, Insomniac have indeed confirmed which of the 2 Spider-Men will be the prime Spider-Man moving forward. With the inevitable sequel still years away, it seems that Peter Parker will no longer take center stage. Miles Morales definitely got his time to shine in his own game, but both have shared the spotlight equally in Spider-Man 2. Now, as players who have played through the game no doubt already know, it is strongly suggested that only one of our heroes will continue to don the mask and protect New York City. But as I said, with the introduction of Silk, we'll probably still have 2 Spider heroes. But yeah, you never know. It is possible that things could change in the future. Now, with Peter's priorities shifting to the Emily May Foundation and life with MJ, possibly it turns out in Spider-Man 3, MJ's pregnant, so we get kind of a Peter B. Parker story going on there. I'd love to see a little May in the 3rd game, from the Across the Spider-Verse movie. We get little May. That would be so cool. I'd love to see that. But yeah, it's clear that Peter is definitely taking a step back, letting Miles take the next step on his hero's journey, becoming the protagonist of the next game, and seemingly New York's only Spider-Man, as Peter put it when he left for Sincaria with MJ in the Miles Morales game. Now, Insomniac narrative director Ben Affman and advanced writer Brittany Morris expanded upon the game's ending, with Morris confirming the move, saying this: "It's always felt very natural, and I think we all collectively thought it would happen. To me, it shows a great deal of evolution from Miles at the beginning of the game. We see him struggling to figure out what he wants to do with his life. By the end, we had Miles carrying out the burden of saving the city and also carrying Pete when Pete wasn't strong enough to carry himself in various points throughout the game." Guessing is referring to the black suit. Now, my question to you guys is, are you excited to see the beginning of a new chapter in the ongoing saga of Marvel's Spider-Man? How much more of Insomniac's take on the Marvel Universe do you want to see? Definitely let me know in the comments below. Because it is very clear that, this is Insomniac's own take on the Spider-Man universe. They may follow the comic book storyline. Goblin could kill Peter Parker, Miles becomes New York's only Spider-Man, with the exception of Silk. But it's also possible that, again, because it's Insomniac's own take, Peter could just, feel like he's had enough. It could be a kind of like a Spider-Man No More story. Peter may have to do something un-Spider-Man-like. He may have to kill Doc Ock, he may have to kill the Goblin. I mean, after the events of Spider-Man 2, Kraven killing all the villains, it would not surprise me if Peter sees no other choice, or has no other choice, to stop them than by killing them. I mean, obviously it's not a Spider-Man / Peter Parker move, but he may have no other option, is what I'm saying. Now, the cycling back to the inevitable DLC for Spider-Man 2, I don't think we're going to see the introduction of the Goblin. It'll probably hint at it, and maybe in a post-credit scene we'll see him becoming the Goblin and maybe breaking Doc Ock out of prison, and that'll lead into the events of the 3rd game. But it seems highly unlikely that the Goblin will be the protagonist of a DLC. The Goblin deserves his own game. He deserves to be the main villain. I seriously believe that the DLC is going to focus on ending the symbiote story. We're going to get that Carnage DLC. Some people have found Easter eggs to a potential Daredevil DLC with the Hand, which is a lead protagonist in Daredevil's orbit. There's also Easter eggs to the Fantastic Four now, so they could cameo, as we know from the comics and various lore. Johnny Storm is a friend to Spider-Man. So whether that friend to Spider-Man will be Peter Parker or Miles, I don't know yet, but I still think because it's part of Spider-Man 2, we will be playing as Peter Parker and Miles simultaneously in the DLC. Maybe if they do it in a series of 3, one chapter, you'll play as both of them. One chapter, you'll play as one of them, and in another chapter, you'll play as the other one. So you see where I'm coming from with that. It's just a theory, but again, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Because I do think that Insomniac really want to keep Peter alive. Because let's not forget, in Spider-Man 2, Craven killed him. Peter did die. If it wasn't for Harry and the black suit, Peter would be dead. You know, we would have carried on the whole game without Peter. You know, and maybe Miles would have gotten the black suit, or maybe Craven would have gotten the black suit. It would have been interesting to see where they went with that, but inevitably they chose to have the symbiote bond with Peter, so we got the iconic black suit Spider-Man, and the suit healed him, and then he just became Spider-Man again, and then in a bizarre turn of events, Peter becomes anti-Venom, which to my knowledge has never happened. Peter has never been anti-Venom. To my knowledge, anti-Venom has either been Eddie Brock or Harry Osborn. So it was very interesting to see where they went with it, considering Eddie Brock is not in this universe. And I'm guessing that's just because of the whole Venom movie things with Tom Hardy. I'm not too sure if they were allowed to use Eddie Brock as a character. But yeah, that's just me spitballing. But yeah, of course, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I think that's just about everything I could uncover regarding this. You know, Insomniac haven't said much as to why. You know, they've just basically said, well, they felt it was natural, you know, and I don't know if I agree, because it feels like Peter's story is going to be left unfinished, especially now with the tease of Green Goblin. It's kind of confusing, because like Goblin is one of Peter Parker's main antagonists, except in the Ultimate Miles universe where Goblin kills Peter, and then of course he becomes Miles's main villain. So I just don't know if that's the way they're going to do it, because it's their own take, as I've also mentioned, or if they're just going to be like, well, you know, Peter's not going to do this. You know, Peter's like, I want out. I'm Spider-Man no more, which would also be an interesting story. But come on, am I the only person who wants to see a little May running around like in Across the Spider-Verse movie? I would love to see that, because the Peter B. Parker, he kind of reminds me of the Insomniac's Peter Parker. You know, the development he's had as a character, it just reminds me so much of Yuri Lowenthal's take on Peter Parker. And I must say, Yuri Lowenthal does a flawlessly beautiful job as Peter Parker. I love him as Peter Parker. He's amazing. He's great. But yeah, anyway, before we turn this into a different video entirely, that's it for the video. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you think I'm talking out my ass? Do you think it's going to go down in any way that I mentioned? Do you think it's going to be completely awesome? Do you think they're going to ruin it? Did you like Spider-Man 2? Did you hate it? Do you think they should end it with the DLC? Or do you think they should continue on past the trilogy with different spin-off games? Because, of course, we're getting Wolverine. So do you think they should, with the introduction of the Baxter Building, do a Fantastic Four game? I'm up for that. I'm all behind that, by the way. Do you think they should do an X-Men game with the introduction of Wolverine being confirmed in the Insomniac universe? Are you wanting a Daredevil game with the recently resurfaced PS2 Daredevil game from, I don't know, I think it was way back in 2004? Do you think they should expand upon that and make a Daredevil game, or just include him in the DLC? There's so much Insomniac can do. It's just all theirs for the taking. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. In my opinion, Marvel games should just be left for Insomniac. Any developer should stop what they're doing and hand over the reins to Insomniac, because Insomniac have proved they can do it and do it right, and I've no doubt Wolverine will continue to keep that train going. So yeah, I'm getting off topic again. I'm ending this video before I speak anymore. So thank you all for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Once again, if you are new to the channel, please make sure you smash that like button and drop me a subscribe, because it would just be your good deed of the day. Same applies if you are a returning viewer. Stay tuned for future content. Of course, when Spider-Man 2's New Game Plus drops, I'll be doing a full playthrough of Spider-Man 2. There's some more informative gaming news videos coming, and a few discussion videos here and there, depends. And I'll be live streaming a few other games here and there as well. So yeah, that being said then, this has been Gamer Dude. Happy gaming, and I will catch you all in the next one, guys.